Solidarity greetings to the sisters and brothers who are members of the Chilean dock workers. My name is Clarence Thomas. I am a third-generation dock worker, retired member of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union Local 10. This is a union that has a militant and democratic history. Not only does it fight for workers' rights, benefits, and democracy on the job, we also have a history of supporting issues and causes in support of the entire working class and the oppressed throughout the world. My local is the only predominantly African-American longshore local on the West Coast. The reason for that is because of the historic 1934 maritime strike, where members of the ILWU, who were members of the Communist Party, Marxist-Leninists, radicals, and others who supported the inclusion of African Americans on the waterfront, realizing that discrimination is a tool of the bosses. I'm here today to talk about neoliberalism on a domestic front as it relates to privatization of maritime property where longshore workers work. Waterfront property has a very high real estate value. One of the crises of capitalism here in the Bay Area is that a multi-billionaire by the name of John Fisher is attempting to privatize part of the third largest port on the West Coast for the purpose of building 3,000 multi-million-dollar condominiums, 400-room hotel, 1.2 million square feet of retail space, and a 34,000-seat baseball park.
34,000?
Yes. This will eliminate longshore jobs. It has the potential of making the Port of Oakland a port of last resort, because shippers may very well decide not to come to the Port of Oakland where there's a baseball park and condominiums, where once those residents move into them, they may very well raise the issue of noise, pollution, lights, and could very well discourage ships from coming to the port. Not only do the owners of the Oakland Athletics, which wants to do this development, they also want 150 acres of public land where they are currently playing baseball. The commissioner of baseball has told the city of Oakland, if the Oakland A's don't get what they want, they possibly will leave the city of Oakland. The issue of privatization on waterfront property is not limited to the Port of Oakland. They also want to develop stadiums in Portland on the Willamette River, and they also want to build an arena at the Port of Seattle in Washington. The crisis of capitalism creates a situation where multi-billionaires are now intruding into the maritime industry, which pays some of the best wages to working class people in the country. The neoliberal policy of capitalists being able to pay politicians to change governmental policies as it relates to the protection of industrial zones, the protection of tidelands property, tidelands, the waterfront. Right. The capitalists are attempting to change such zoning laws for the sake of privatization, to take away union jobs and replace them with temporary, low-wage jobs that do not pay living wages. John Fisher is the owner of the Oakland A's. He's a multi-billionaire landowner who also owns a large apparel company called The Gap. He is a major player for the privatization of education through the charterization of public education. They are committing extortion to the city and the residents of the city of Oakland by using the threat of leaving, the baseball team leaving the city, as a way of using baseball as a subterfuge to accomplish their end. This is so outrageous that the bosses of the ILWU, the employers, are aligning themselves with the unions on the waterfront to stop this privatization effort. This is a classic example of capitalism run amok, when now the capitalists are fighting one another. Longshore workers understand capitalism probably better than any other workers in the world. It is because we are critical to the global economy. The cars we drive, the clothes we wear, the food we eat, the oil we use for our cars, anything that comes off of a ship is unloaded or loaded by longshore workers. When we don't work, the global economy is shut down. As such, we understand the importance of international solidarity. And it is for that reason, if we are to stop the privatization of ports, we're going to have to take international solidarity action. If we want to stop automation on the waterfront, we're going to have to take international solidarity action. One of the key features of neoliberalism is to attack labor. Capitalists understand that some of the strongest unions in the world are dock workers. The ILWU Local 10 has a long history of taking international solidarity action at the point of production. In 1935, after Mussolini invaded Ethiopia, there was a community blockade at the port protesting the loading of nickel and other metal materials that were destined to go to Italy. We did not load that cargo. When Japan invaded Manchuria, there was another community picket line protesting the loading of scrap iron to Japan. We did not load that cargo. In 1984, ILWU Local 10 refused to handle South African cargo for 11 days as a strong international anti-apartheid measure. 2014, Local 10 refused to handle cargo from the Zim, the major Israeli shipping line, for 4 days. To this day, Zim does not come to the West Coast. These are examples of international solidarity action taken by Local 10. The struggle continues. We look forward to hearing from you. I understand there was a delegation from Chile of dock workers that came to Local 10 in 2014. Hopefully there will be future visits in the immediate future.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Hopefully there will be future visits.
He wanted to say something. ¿Quieres decir algo tú con respecto a eso, Nelson? Ya, entonces tuviste presente los 3 últimos congresos y el último fue en Miami. ¿Fue en 2014, dijiste? ¿17? Yeah, yeah. He was present. He was president. Nelson mentioned that he went to the last 3 conventions of the IDC, and the last one that was held in 2017. He was also there. We went to Miami. It was held in.
Oh yes, we had a delegation there. And I just want to say one thing that I need to say for the record. And that is, in 1973, there was a resolution adopted by Local 10 calling for the boycott of Chilean cargo. In the aftermath of the murder and coup d'etat of Salvador Allende. In 1978, ILWU Local 10 refused to handle bombs that were destined to go to Chile. We refused to handle that cargo. A business agent by the name of Herb Mills contacted Senator Ted Kennedy, raising the question as to why bombs were going to one of the most repressive governments in the world. We did not work that cargo. This is an example of international solidarity at the point of production. Thank you for listening. I hope that my few minutes of information to you has provided some idea of our current struggles here and how they are related to your struggles in Chile. An injury to one is an injury to all.